everyone, welcome back. My name's Diana. This is my channel Bookish Di, and today I am doing my quarter 4 book haul. So I know this is probably going to be going up a little earlier than when I normally do my quarterly book hauls, but I decided just to get it out of the way because I want to try and get some cleaning done before the holidays, and that includes putting away new books instead of letting them hang out on the book throne. And I also kind of want to film a bookshelf tour, and to do that I need to put my books away. So I figure I'll just do all the books that I've required in October, November, and December so far, and anything else that I get this month I'm just going to put into the first haul of 2022. I don't think I'll get that much, but you never know. So as usual, I'll be breaking things into different groups. So I'll be talking, as always, about Star Wars. I'll talk about my trip to Powell's, talking about the young adult, then adult, and then early holiday present I got from some family. So let's get into it. And also, Luke says hi. All right, so starting off with the Star Wars books. So I have quite a few. So first up are some comics. So I have the final 2 collections in the Age of series that they did in 2019, I believe. This was done in the lead up to the Rise of Skywalker. So they did Age of Republic and Age of Rebellion, and now these are Age of Resistance. So I have heroes and then villains. And yeah, these have been fun collections, and I had been meaning to pick these up for a while, so I finally did. Then I have 3 of the High Republic comics. I have the first 2 volumes of the Marvel series. So we have There Is No Fear, and then The Heart of the Drenger. These are by Cavan Scott, with art by Ario Anedito, Mark Morales, and George Gianti. So this is continuing the story from the High Republic. These star Keeve Trennis and her former teacher, Skier, and Avar Chris. And I've been doing a bad job of keeping up with the High Republic, so that's, I think, going to be one of my goals for 2022 is catching up and keeping up with what's happening. But anyway, I'm really glad to finally have these. I absolutely adore the Phil Noto covers, and I'm very interested to see what shenanigans the Jedi are getting up to in these. And then the other High Republic comic I have is the Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, written by Daniel Jose Older with art by Harvey Tolibao. So this is the younger readers comic, and it follows a group of Jedi apprentices on a field trip with Master Yoda and a Jedi Master nicknamed Buckets of Blood. And again, it's something that I've been meaning to read and catch up on, and I, again, am hoping to do so soon. And then I have a couple of Star Wars novels as well. The first is Star Wars Ronin, a Visions novel written by Emma Mieko Candon. So this is a expansion of the Star Wars Vision short, The Duel. So Star Wars Visions, for folks who don't know, was an anthology series done by different anime studios, and it's their interpretations of Star Wars, and it was really, really cool. So the episodes themselves aren't very long, and it was really interesting to see what aspects, like what each studio focused on in terms of the story and adding their own touches. And The Duel was a really cool, in my opinion, a really cool short. They just had some beautiful art. I really enjoyed the story. And so again, this is expanding on it. I've heard fantastic things about it. I haven't read it yet, but it is on my list, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And then the last Star Wars book is a chonker. It is Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil by Timothy Zahn. So this is he is just demanding so much attention today. So this is the Final book in the Thrawn Ascendancy series. So this covers Grand Admiral Thrawn's early life in the Chiss Ascendancy. And again, I have not read the lead up, but I collect all the Star Wars books. So I got this one. This is the Barnes & Noble Bubby exclusive edition that comes with some art, which I can't show you right now because my cat is demanding pets. But anyway, this I think is the biggest Star Wars book in the new canon, which isn't a surprise because Timothy Zahn always wrote very long books in Legends. But yeah, this should be interesting. Thrawn isn't my favorite character, but I'm interested to see what's going, like his backstory in particular. Next, I have some books from some trips to Powell's that I took in October. So the first was when I was supposed to be going to a game that got canceled and it turned into a fan protest against the Portland Thorns head office. Yeah, being an NWSL fan the last few months has been really fucking hard. Anyway, so, and then I went again to see a friend who was in town and also to see the postponed game. So I did get some books. Yeah. So the first one I got was Defy the World by Claudia Gray. This is the second book in her Defy the Stars trilogy. So I've read the first one, Defy the Stars, and I very much liked it. And I had been meaning to pick up the second book for quite a while, and I finally did. He is going to knock all my books down, and that is going to be sad. Okay, so I might reread the first one before rereading this. So this follows robot Abel and a young woman that he had met in the previous book, Noemi Vidal, and they're on opposite sides of a galactic conflict, and they're trying to discover a secret that could save the known worlds or destroy them. But if you like YA science fiction, I did very much enjoy the first one, and I'm really interested to see what Claudia Gray does in this because I've enjoyed a lot of the writing that Claudia Gray has done for Star Wars, but I haven't really read too much of her original fiction. Next, I have the Blaze Wrath Games by Amparo Ortiz. This is a YA fantasy novel, and it follows a young Puerto Rican girl named Lana. And so she gets named to the Puerto Rican team for the Blaze Wrath Games, which are games that deal with dragons. And yeah, I've heard good things about this. It sounded really interesting. I'm always up for dragons. I'm always up for Latinx YA fiction, and this fit the bill on both counts. Then I have some various adult SFF. So the first is The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. This is an adult science fiction novel, and it follows First Sister, who is a priestess with the Sisterhood. So she travels along with the soldiers of Earth and Mars. It also follows a rebel from Venus. So anyway, I've heard good things about this. A friend of mine has read it and really enjoyed it. So this definitely sounds interesting, and I'm intrigued by the back synopsis. And yeah, I want to read some more science fiction anyway. Then I have Son of the Storm by C.U. Davis Okumbawa. This is an African-inspired fantasy, and it follows a scholar who stumbles across a warrior wielding magic that shouldn't exist, and so he starts looking into it and discovers secrets that contradict everything that he's been taught in his city. So this is something I've seen folks who like it. I've seen some other folks who are more meh on it, but definitely sounds interesting. And honestly, a lot of the science fiction and fantasy that Orbit has been putting out lately has just sounded very intriguing, and this certainly fits that. And then I have another chunker. This is Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. So they're actually two writers, Marie Brennan and Alec Helms, who are writing together under the pseudonym. And so this is a fantasy heist. And my friend KJ over at Lady Business read this and really enjoyed it. And I love good heists. And so I just decided to pick this up because it looks interesting and I'm very intrigued to see what's going on with this story. Next, moving on more generally to the YA books that I have. First up, I couldn't help myself and I ended up getting all the books in paperback so far of Megan Whalen Turner's The Queen's Thief series. So this is actually one of my favorite fantasy series, and I had read them all a few years ago and just really loved them. The last book, Return of the Thief, was one of my favorite books from 2020, and I really wanted my own physical copies of these books. And so I finally picked them up, and I'm planning on pre-ordering the paperback of Return of the Thief, so I'll have a complete set that I can then read whenever I want. Next, I have A Clash of Steel, a Treasure Island remix by C.B. Lee. So my familiarity with Treasure Island is the Wishbone episode and Muppets Treasure Island. I have not actually read the original, but I do very much like C.B. Lee's writing. Her Sidekick Squad series is excellent. I highly recommend it. So I was very intrigued by this book. So it follows a teenage girl named Jiang who has heard about the stories of the Dragon Fleet all her life. So that's a pirate fleet, and she gets drawn in trying to find a hidden treasure, and it is sapphic, it is an adventure novel, and it definitely sounds really interesting. And also I really love the cover. I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous. Next, I have We Light Up the Sky by Lilian Rivera. This is a YA science fiction novel following 3 Latinx teens in the early stages of an alien invasion. So I have read this book. I did not like this book as much as I thought I would. I had some issues with the world building, and I also thought this was a book that could have used a longer page length because it's under 250 pages. It's a very short book. But I'm also not the target audience for this, so I'm wondering if some teens if there are teens who might like this better than I did. But yeah, this is probably one that I will end up unhauling at some point in the future just because I don't know if I necessarily want to read it. So yeah, disappointed in this one. Then I have the new Darcy Little Badger novel, Snake Falls to Earth. So I had read her previous novel, Alatsaway, earlier this year and I absolutely loved it, and then immediately went out and pre-ordered this. So this follows Nina, who's a Leap and Apache girl, and Oli, who's a cottonmouth kid who falls to Earth. And he and Nina come together and stuff happens. So this is really beautiful. Like I said, I really loved Alatsaway, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. And then I have Margaret Owen's The Little Thieves. This is a retelling of The Goose Girl. Basically the premise is it's a beautiful day and you're a horrible goose girl. So it follows Vanja, who has stolen the identity of Princess Giselle and is trying to steal enough coins and jewels to pay back her foster mother's death and fortune, but she accidentally steals from the wrong family and gets cursed by a little god to turn it into jewels unless she has to pull off the biggest grift. So I had read actually a Goose Girl retelling earlier this year, Thorn, which I very much enjoyed, but that's more of the traditional retelling where it's told from the point of view of the princess and not the Goose Girl. So I'm very interested to see what Margaret Owens does with this. I've heard very good things about it, and there is going to be a sequel in this sequel to this coming out in 2023, I believe, called Painted Devils. So I'm, like I said, very interested to see what happens here. And then I have a couple of sequels that I picked up. So the first is Cazadora, which is by Romina Garber. This is the sequel to Lobizona, which is Argentine YA fantasy. And so this picks up where Lobizona left off. And then The Bronze Beast by Roshni Chokshi. This is the finale to the Gilded Wolves trilogy. I still haven't read Silvered Serpents, but I really liked Gilded Wolves, and I think I might just reread that before moving on with the rest of the series. Then some adult books that I picked up. The first is The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. So this deals with the multiverse. It follows Kara, who can travel between universes because her duplicates on other worlds have died, so she's able to move to those worlds. But stuff happens and she has to solve a mystery. This is sapphic adult science fiction. I've heard very good things about this, and so I just picked it up. Also, so I wouldn't have to keep fighting the library hold list for it. Then I got the complete collection of the Tensorite novellas by Neon Yang. These are silk punk novellas, and they each follow different characters set in an empire. And so the first two novellas follow two siblings, and then the other two follow different characters that you meet later on. So I really enjoyed the individual novellas, but I had been waiting to see if there would be a bind up, and there actually was. So I decided just to get the bind up instead of getting the individual novellas. Next is the newest book in one of my favorite ongoing fantasy series, and that is Hollywood Heroine by Sarah Kuhn. This deals with the continuing adventures of Evita Jupiter and Evie Tanaka. And so now they go down to LA because there is production on a movie based on their lives. And of course, shenanigans ensue. I have read all the books in this series so far, and I love them. I'm very interested to see what's going on here. I really like how Sarah Kuhn writes the relationships between her characters. I like that we've seen growth in the characters over each successive books. And I really am interested in the world building that she's come up with these books. So again, this is something I'm really looking forward to reading, and it's one that I'm hoping to read while I'm on break for the holidays. And then the last one adult book that I picked, well, there's some more ones, but like the last of the general adult stack is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This is a adult, I've heard science, I think I'm going to call it science fantasy because there are aliens, but there's also someone who makes a Faustian deal with the devil for the souls of 7 violinists. So this follows Shizuka Satomi, who made a deal with the devil. She must entice 7 violin prodigies to trade their souls for success, and she's about to get her last one when things happen. So yeah, I've heard good things about this. This sounds like a fun, interesting read, and also the cover is absolutely gorgeous. And then the last batch of books that I have are a holiday present for my grandparents. They gave me some money from their local independent bookstores to get stuff that I wanted, so I did. So the first thing I have is Tristan Strong Keeps Punching. This is the final book in the Tristan Strong series from Rick Riordan Presents by Kwame Ambalia. I have read the first book and absolutely loved it. I still need to read book 2, but I wanted to pick this up because, like I said, I really liked the first book. I'm very interested to see how this trilogy resolves. Next, I have The Sum of Us, What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together by Heather McGhee. This is a nonfiction book, which I don't normally buy, but I actually read this early on in November and very much enjoyed it and really wanted my own copy so I could reread it and take notes. So I decided to pick this up again so I could have my own copy. Then I have A Marvelous Life by Freya Marsky. This is a historical fantasy romance set in 1918, and it follows 2 men, Robin and Edwin. Robin is from the mundane world who gets assigned a job as the liaison to the magical realm, or the magical society in England, as an act of revenge against one of his parents' enemies. And Edwin, who is his counterpart, and they are trying to solve the murder, disappearance slash murder of Robin's predecessor and try and figure out what's going on. I really enjoyed this. I had some quibbles about the world building, but overall really liked this, and I'm definitely planning on picking up the sequel when it comes out. And then the last one I got is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is the first book in the Greenbone saga. I have been meaning to read this for a very long time. I have friends who've absolutely raved about this and really love it. And so I just decided to pick it up so I would have my own copy to read and hopefully enjoy. So that's my quarter 4 book haul. A lot of books, some of which I've read, some of which I haven't, one of which I will probably unhaul in the near future based on the fact that I did not really like it and don't necessarily want it on my shelf. So yeah, are there any books here that look interesting to you? Do you have any opinions on them? Please let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoy what you see, please like and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.